Hello everyone and welcome back. Just so you know, I'm not dead. I felt the need to clarify that because I've only posted 2 videos this month. Dyes, the one aspect of customization that still remains in this game. Ah, that was terrible. Today's video is going to be about dyes, as I'm sure you might have figured out. There was a comment somewhere on either one of my posts or one of my videos or, somewhere that said that I should make a video explaining where to get all of the different dye packs to unlock all of the different colors. But there are a couple of misconceptions that I want to clear up first, and just a general explanation of, who is this guy? Just a general explanation of how dyes in Mod 17 work. I think this guy is jealous that I'm up here and he's down there. Oh, he's here now. Alright, I guess we have a guest in today's video. It's at Bucket. That sounds like bucket. So anyway, in case you weren't aware, dyes are a bit different in Module 17. There are 61 total dye packs, which unlock a total of 119 different colors. But there are a total of 126 colors because you get the top 7 for free. You only need 1 of each dye pack, and then each color is unlocked permanently, which is great because, that makes dye packs pretty useless, which means that people had a lot of them, which means they sold them, which means they're all on the auction house for very cheap, except a select few. I hope you got all that. So anyway, if you hover over any dye, it'll tell you which dye pack that you need to convert in order to unlock it, and then it also tells you whether or not you're using it in any of your fashion. And now to clear up a couple of misconceptions that are present here before I actually tell you where to get everything. In the sandstone color, there is no devoted cleric's dye pack, it is just called the cleric's dye pack. And there's also one other one. There is no siege veteran dye pack either, it is just the veteran dye pack. So there's a couple of typos and mistakes over here that can be confusing that I just wanted to clear up. Also, one last thing. There is a dye pack in the trade bar store called the Far-Touched dye pack, but it is not mentioned in any of the colors that you have available because they are the exact same as the Moonstone dye pack. Like, you unlock the exact same 3 colors. Far-Touched dye pack isn't even mentioned anywhere. So basically this dye pack is completely useless and shouldn't even exist. Although I get the feeling that it's supposed to actually have different colors in it and just doesn't. But there's no colors unaccounted for in the actual dye pack list, so I don't know. As of this moment, I'm still not really sure how I want to approach this video because there are 61 different dye packs. However, the majority of them are confined to a few different places to obtain them other than the auction house, so I'm just gonna go by their location that you obtain them and, list off which ones are there. Starting with the trade bar store because I was already here. Now, if there's one thing that I wish you could do, I wish you could preview a dye pack on whatever clothes you're currently wearing, because it's going to be really hard for you to make the connection between the name of the dye pack and the color that you want if you don't already know what dye pack you're looking for. And it's going to be pretty challenging to show you all the colors, but I will do that at the end, or maybe at the same time. This is going to be a lot of work. So anyway, in the trade bar store, you have a lot more options than you had before. So here we go, we're just going to list them all off. We got Dark Leather, Samite, Dusk Armor, Bandit, Moonstone Fancy, Moonstone Dye Pack, Far-Touched Dye Pack, the useless one, Siege Standard, Gloomrot Dye Pack, Silvery Dye Pack, hey, this one's named after me, Nightmare Dye Pack, Leather Dye Pack, Sunite Heart, Ebon Darkness, Ethereal Skies, Elemental Ember, Sylvan Grove, Coppersmith, Winter Wolf, Neverwinter Royal, High Harvest, Moon Shadow, Crimson Dusk, Mercurial Gold, Emerald Dragonscale, Pink, and Black. Whew, that was a lot of options, and that's the largest section we have. Good to get that out of the way. If you need to pause the video to get a better look at any of the colors that are probably presented to you on the screen right now, go ahead and do that. Now our next section is professions. In the alchemy profession, level 61 to 70, level 66 to be exact, you unlock all of the class dye packs, except for Paladin because the Paladin dye pack doesn't exist. And I, as a Paladin, am quite offended by this. So going from left to right, top to bottom on your screen, you have the Barbarian dye pack, and then you have Cleric, Fighter, Ranger, Rogue, Warlock, and Wizard. And the Paladins just sat in the corner. Next up, we have the events category of dye packs that you can get from participating in the various events throughout the year. So, of course, the most prominent of these is the Call to Arm event series. That happens like once every couple months or so, I think. Of course, going left to right, top to bottom, we have the Blue Fire die pack, which is from the Gatecrashers Call to Arms. And then we have Chill Wind, which is from the Stormfront one, which you might have noticed if you've been playing for a little while that people were getting stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of this die and literally just throwing it out because they had so much die. And next is the Doomguide die pack, which comes from the Defend the Temple Call to Arms. And then the Grey Wolf Tribe, which comes from the Pit Fight CTA. Helmite, which comes from the Straight to Helm CTA. Jungle Cloak, which comes from Garandar the Vile CTA. Many Arrows, which comes from the Orc Assault CTA. The Searing Magma one, which comes from the Battle for the Bridge CTA. And then, lastly but not leastly, Swashbuckler, which comes from the Storm the Keep CTA. In case you didn't figure it out, there are a lot of CTA events, and each one has their own specific die that comes along with it, as well as their own transmutes. So, anyway, on the topic of events, we have my personal favorite die pack, the Masquerade die pack, which comes, of course, from the Masquerade of Liars event, which is coming up soon here in the middle of October, I believe. So, you should, get one, or 7, or however many characters you have, And then we have Lyra's Night, which comes from the Celebration of Lyra event. That's the fireworks one that happens around the 4th of July. And then we have the Dragon Slayers die pack, which comes from the Siege of Neverwinter event, which happens every few months. That's the event that you can also get the free Siegebreaker Griffin mount that has Wanderer's Fortune and all that jazz. Also from the same event, we have the Veteran die pack. And then we have the Blessed Gold die pack, which comes from the Coins of Joaquin event, which is going on right now, so you can get that for basically no effort at all. It's also like 180 on the auction house or something. But then we have the Celestial Grace, which comes from Challenge of the Gods. And that's the one where you pick up those giant key things off the floor and they're like, don't use any encounters for the next minute. And then if you succeed in that task, you get like a box, and then you can open the box and you get that die pack, maybe. Yeah, this is turning into like an event summary video as well as a die pack explanatory video. So that is all of the event dies, which actually didn't seem like very many at all because CTA to me is just one giant event. I don't think of each individual CTA as an individual event. But anyway, next up we're going to take a visit to the Stronghold because there are actually quite a lot of dies that you can obtain from the Stronghold, but they do require a little bit more effort. So if you take a visit to your local outfitter in your Stronghold and take a look at anything besides his equipment that he has for sale, you have two options here, Fangs of the Dragonflight and Banners of the Fallen. Both of these currencies can be used to purchase die packs, although Fangs of the Dragonflight have more available options with the Draconic Black, Blue, Red, Green, and then the Cruelty, Vanity, Pride, and Treachery of the Dragonflight. So, of course, you get these Fangs of the Dragonflight by participating in the Dragonflight event in your Stronghold or with your alliance, and you get one for each dragon that you kill during that event. So if you kill all 4 dragons, you can get 4 per Dragonflight and, get these dies relatively quickly. But if you're in a smaller guild or just don't have a high turnout, it might take you a little bit longer. On to the Banners of the Fallen. This is the currency that you get for participating in the 20 versus 20 Stronghold Siege, or, the PvP thing that everyone did to get their weekly quest a while back, and then they updated it, and now you can't queue privately to get the rewards, and nobody bothers doing it anymore. Yeah, that. So, these are probably the most difficult die packs to obtain. Pride of the Pack and Roar of the Pack. And if you saw my recent post, recent as in like 3 weeks ago, post on YouTube, I complained that I have one singular color that is not unlocked, and it is from this die pack here. At the time of recording this, there is one listed on the auction house for 5 million AD, and that's quite ridiculous, to be honest, so I'm just gonna hard nope on that. Ironically, the color that I don't have unlocked is the one that I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce because there's way too many consonants next to each other. Actually, there's really not that many at all, but it looks like it. It's the second one here, Otyugh Brown. Like, how do you even attempt to pronounce that? Otyugh Brown. No, that's my attempt. So, while we're on the topic of professions, even though we're not on the topic of professions anymore, but I forgot about it, there is one die that is not accounted for But there were 3 dyes that were craftable from Masterwork Alchemy before. I did some research on this to try and figure it out, so that's the only reason I know. Well, they weren't crafted, really. You just got them whenever you failed to make one of the rugs for the Stronghold, which is in Masterwork Professions. But yeah, 2 of them are available in the trade bar store that I already went over, and they were the Dark Leather and the Samite dye packs. But the Adamant dye pack is not here anymore. Although I thought I remembered it being here on preview, but it's not here now. Maybe this is supposed to be adamant and have different colors. I don't know. But it wasn't an issue for me because all the colors in it are unlocked through other dye packs as well. It didn't really prove to be any problem at all for me, and so it probably won't be a problem for you. Now we're going to take another pit stop, this time to the Enclave, to meet with our friend the Dragon Scale Merchant that nobody interacts with, and I'm sure most of you don't even know exists. All the way up here at the top of the West Courtyard in the Hall of Justice is our friend the Dragon Scale Merchant, who is apparently very short. And in here, if you go to the Common tab, you can see there's a 4-pack of all the Draconic color dyes. The Draconic white one is only available here. The other 4 are available from the Outfitter in the Stronghold that we just talked about. But the white one is here and here only. And these silver dragon scales come from older lock boxes, I think. And I'm not sure if there's any recent way to get these. Alright, that actually covers all of the dye packs, and I'm really surprised that it went by that quickly, but I think because the majority of them are from the trade bar store that took out a huge chunk right away. But like I said, if you just go to the consumables and look at different dyes that are available, you can see that the current one from the Joaquin event is 3 AD. You can scroll through and find other ones for equally very cheap. So for the majority of the colors that you're going to want, the price you're going to have to pay to get those colors is very low. So the higher end ones are, other than the Roar of the Pack one that I pointed out, are the ones from the Stronghold Outfitter. For example, Cruelty is going for 90k. This is a good way to make some money if you do Dragonflight a lot. Cough, cough. Totally not a tip at all. There's one other thing that I wanted to mention. There was the Variety Fashion Pack that came from the lockbox that was released with the Ravenloft module, Module 14. And in this Variety Fashion Pack, you get a random dye pack. Now, this was before all the dye changes of Mod 17, and I don't have any of these to copy to preview and, see what dyes are available from this, so I don't know which random dyes you can get from this, so maybe somebody more educated than I am can say so in the comments. I don't mean tell me that they're more educated than me, I mean tell me what dyes are in it. I considered asking one of the devs, but it is Saturday and I wouldn't have gotten a response anyway because it's Saturday night. So, with that being said, I don't know if I approached this video in the best way. You can tell me about that in the comments, and then also tell me what your favorite color combination is too, because, or just your favorite color that's available, because obviously, as you might be able to tell, my favorite color combination to use in dyes and stuff is the red, gold, black combo. And then I have also silver boots because my name is Silver. So thank you for watching or listening or whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video or at least found it at least mildly informational. And I also just want to reiterate that I am very much alive and not dead. Just in case you thought I was broadcasting from the grave in Neverdeath Graveyard or something, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys alone now. Okay, bye.